So first, we are going to convert 55 miles per hour to feet per seconds. Our very first step is we have to know what it is that we're starting out with and what we're trying to go to. So we're starting out with 55 miles per hour. How many hours is this?
1 hour.
1 hour, right? Whenever we say per hour, that means one. This is a unit rate. We're making a comparison of two different quantities per one, right? How many miles per 1 hour? And then we're trying to get all the way to feet per second. So we're trying to go from miles to feet, and we're trying to go from hours to second. I'm going to show you two ways of doing this. I'm going to show you something called dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is something that you're going to have to use when you get into science next year. You're going to have to use it in high school, and then you'll have to use it in college. And so it's a little bit more complicated than the other way I'm going to show you, but if you can remember this way, it's going to make your life easier in 8th grade, in high school, and in college. So in dimensional analysis, the very first thing that we're going to do, since we know we started out with miles per hour and we're trying to get to feet per second, we're now going to multiply by the unit rates or the conversion factors that tell us how many miles there are in a feet or how many feet there are in a mile, etc. Dang it. Now, you guys don't know how many feet there are in a mile, but I'm going to write it down and I'm going to show you. So there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So we need to know that. Then we also need to know, I need to, one sec. I need to get rid of this. There we go. So we need to know how many feet there are in a mile. And then we also need to know, what else do we need to know here? How many what? How many seconds there are in an hour? Can we go straight from hours to seconds? What do we need to know first? Right? How many minutes? So there's 60 minutes. Oops. There's 60 minutes in 1 hour. Right? What else do we need to know? Yes? All right, and then there's 60 seconds in 1 minute. For each one of these, this is going to be a unit rate that we're going to multiply by. So we know that we're going to multiply by 3 unit rates. So I'm going to multiply by 1 unit rate, 2 unit rates, 3 unit rates, and it's going to give me my answer. So however many conversions you have, that's going to be the number of unit rates that you're going to multiply by. So the very first one that we're going to do is we're going to change miles to feet. The way that we're going to change miles to feet, notice we have miles up here. We need to have it in our denominator so we can divide it out. I wrote it in red so we can see where they match up at. Now from there, how many feet did we say that were in a mile? 5,280. All I did was fill in the unit rate that we already knew about, right? Your units are important here. So 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And then, so we got rid of this one. I'm going to cross it out. The next one are minutes and hours. So I'm going to have to put the hours opposite of where they are here. So you see where the hours are here? What's opposite? The numerator or denominator? The numerator. So I'm going to put hours here, right? In 1 hour, there's how many minutes? 60 minutes. I'm going to use another color for minutes. I'm running out of colors. I'll use, yellow's hard to see, but I'm going to use it. So there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. So I use this one up. I'm going to cross it out. Last but not least, we're left with 60 seconds equals 1 minute. I'm going to fill that one in. 60 seconds. I need to get rid of the minutes here. Notice we have minutes here in yellow. I need to get rid of this. And I need to put it opposite. So where would opposite be in this last ratio that we have there? In the numerator. So minutes are going to go there, right? So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. And then from there, we're going to simplify or we're going to multiply everything. So let's see what this looks like. 5,280 feet times 1 hour times 1 minute over 1 hour times 1 mile times 60 minutes times 60 seconds. And then from here, we're going to cross out everything that's in the numerator that's also in the denominator. For instance, we had miles. Oops, we started out with, oh, I forgot the 55. My bad. We have 55 miles, right? Over 1 hour. So we had miles in the numerator and the denominator. I'm going to cross it out. So I'm going to cross out the miles here, and there were miles here. We'll cross them out. Then we should have had hours here. We also have hours in the numerator. We cross it out. And then we had minutes here. We have minutes here in the numerator. We cross it out. So then what we're left with is, we're left with feet and we're left with seconds, and that's what we wanted to get. And then from there, we're going to multiply all of everything in the numerator. We're going to multiply everything in the denominator. So 55 times 5,280 equals 290,400 feet over 60 times 60 is 3,600 seconds. And then we're going to simplify. So whenever we're dividing or simplifying and we have a 0 at the end of the number in the numerator and denominator, we can cancel those out. So those two zeros are going to get canceled out. These two zeros are going to get canceled out. We're left with 2,904 divided by 36. So 2,904 divided by 36 equals 80.6 feet per second. Now that's a lot, right? What we did there was just a lot. Let's rewind everything and let's review what we did. So we started out by identifying where we're at. We were at miles per hour, and then we wanted to go to feet per second. We wrote it on the other side. Then we identified the things that we needed to know in order to make this conversion. We needed to know how many feet there were in a mile. So we wrote it down. We knew how many minutes in an hour. And then we also needed to know the seconds per minute. We had 3 unit rates, which means we're multiplying by 3 unit rates. So I made space. I wrote down 3 unit rate spaces for 3 unit rates. And then I filled in the unit rates. And we always make sure that the units are opposite where they are when we started out with. So miles were here in the numerator. So I had to make sure to put miles here in the denominator when I multiplied it so that they can cancel out. And then here we had feet, we had hours in the denominator. So I put the hours here in the numerator when I multiplied it so that they could cancel out. And then here we had minutes in the denominator. So when I multiplied it, I put minutes in the numerator opposite so we could cancel it out. And then the 2 units that we were left with were feet and seconds. And that's what we wanted to find. I'm going to do one more example. So we're going to go from gallons per hour to pints per minute. Gallons per hour to pints per minute. First of all, we got to identify where we start out with, and we're going to show where it is that we're trying to go. I'm going to white out this little problem here at the bottom real quick. All right. So we're starting out with 8 gallons in 1 hour. That's our unit rate. And where is it that we're trying to go? Pints per minute. So first step is you're going to identify what you're starting out with. And then kind of on the right side of your paper, you're going to write out pints per minute because that's what we're trying to get to. Then from there, we have to identify our conversion factors. What do we need to know about gallons? We have to know how many pints are in a gallon. There's 8 pints in 1 gallon, right? So I'm going to write that down here. 8 pints, 1 gallon. That's 1 unit rate that we need to know. What else do we need to know here? What other units do we have that we're converting? We're converting hours to minutes. So how many minutes in an hour? 60 minutes in 1 hour. Now we have our 2 unit rates. Now we're just going to multiply. So we know we're going to multiply by 2 unit rates. So I'm going to put 2 spaces for 2 fractions there. And then from here, we're going to add them in. So we're going to convert gallons to pints first. We said that there were 8 pints in a gallon. We need to write that here. Remember, we need to put gallons opposite of where they started out so that we can get rid of the gallons. So if gallons started out in our numerator here, when I multiply it, where does it need to go in the numerator or denominator? Denominator, right? I'm going to put it there, which means that pints are going to go up here. Units are very important, guys. I'm going to put pints in red. So we said that there was 8 pints in 1 gallon. Does everybody see my unit rate there? Right? And then we have 1 more unit rate. Can we cross out gallons now? Well, we can because we have them in the numerator and the denominator. So we can cancel out or divide out the gallons. Now we have 1 unit rate left. 60 minutes in an hour. We need to get rid of the hours that we started out with. We have hours right here. So where is it going to go here in our unit rate? It's going to go in the numerator. We're going to write hours there so that we can cancel it out. So there's 1 hour and 60 minutes. Now we have hours in the denominator and the numerator. We can cross it out. So we're left with what we wanted. We wanted pints and we wanted minutes, right? So now we're just going to simplify. What's 8 times 8? Right? So let me backtrack. We're going to multiply everything that's in the numerator. And then everything that's in the denominator. Have a seat, please. Eight times 8 is? 64 times 1 is? So we have 64 pints over. 1 times 1 is? Times 60 is? 60. So we have 60 minutes. And then from there, we're just going to simplify. When I say simplify, what do I mean by that? Divide. When I say simplify, what do I mean, class? Divide. So I'm going to divide 64. Top dog goes in the house. Divided by 60. Which equals 1.06 pints per minute. Let's backtrack just to see what we did. We started out and we had to identify, we started out with gallons per hour. So we wrote it here, gallons per hour. And then we identified here that we wanted to go to pints per minute. The second step, we had to identify the conversion rates that we needed to know. We needed to know pints per gallon. So we wrote how many pints there were in a gallon. There's 8 pints per 1 gallon. We also needed to know how many hours there were. How many minutes in 60 hours. Those were the 2 unit rates that we needed to know. We filled them in here, making sure our units were opposite of where they started from. We multiplied everything in the numerator. We multiplied everything in the denominator. We got our answer and we simplified it. We got 1.06 pints per minute.